great to see you all. Thanks for being here. Again, my name is Hannah Belsito, and I am the Vice President of Destination Development and Community Affairs for Destination Cleveland. I'm here today to talk to you about why I have a curiosity for Cleveland and hopefully inspire you to have a curiosity for Cleveland too. So Destination Cleveland's mission is to drive economic impact and stimulate community vitality for Greater Cleveland through leisure and business travel. That's a lot of words. What does that all mean? It really means increased travel to Cleveland. And we do this in two primary ways. One is marketing and the other is sales. We're marketing Cleveland outside the region to get visitors to come here, and then we're also selling Cleveland to meeting planners in hopes that they'll book their convention here instead of places like Pittsburgh, Columbus, Milwaukee, St. Louis. So how did I get so curious about Cleveland? I grew up in a very small town, Salem, Ohio, which is about an hour and a half from here on the Ohio-Pennsylvania border. And Cleveland and Pittsburgh were these massive, giant cities to me, and I wanted to go live in one of them and experience big city life. So I moved here to study at John Carroll University, where I was a communications major. And at John Carroll, I had a lot of internships. I didn't have those internships to really build my resume, which I know is why you should have them, but because I was curious. I was studying communications, and I wanted to love my job when I graduated. And so I took on a lot of internships to try a lot of things. And I had 6, and they took me all over the city. They took me from John Carroll to downtown Cleveland. I got to take the Green Line from University Heights into Tower City. And every time I was riding that rapid in, I was curious. I was looking out the windows, wondering what was going on in these neighborhoods that I was traveling through. So when I graduated, I moved to downtown Cleveland. And I know you probably all know a lot of people that live in downtown Cleveland, but I lived in downtown Cleveland about 15 years ago, when not a lot of people were living in downtown Cleveland. Because I was curious. I wanted to know what was going on in the second stories of these buildings above retail. When I was living downtown, I got really involved in young professional organizations and started to get engaged in that way. And all of these things led to an intense civic passion. Curiosity led to involvement. I co-founded Cleveland Connection, which today is called Engage Cleveland. This is an organization that brings together the 50+ young professional organizations in our region and connects young professionals to one another. I had the pleasure of working with civic entrepreneurs to connect money and mentorship to individuals with good ideas through a program of the Cleveland Foundation called the Civic Innovation Lab. And then I spent time working with young professionals to help them find their passion through a program of the Cleveland Leadership Center called Cleveland Bridge Builders. Today, I work to strengthen our region as a destination by engaging local residents, and that's what I hope to do with all of you here today. So it's a good time to be in travel and tourism in Cleveland. There's $3 billion being invested right now in visitor-related infrastructure. These are things you've all heard about: the Museum of Contemporary Art and University Circle, the new convention center downtown with a big green space on top of it, the Horseshoe Casino. There's so many to name. 9 new hotels coming into the downtown and University Circle area, the new chandelier in Playhouse Square, and then my personal favorite, which is the redesign of Public Square. If you're not familiar, in downtown Cleveland, the center of town is Public Square. This was designed by Daniel Burnham in the early 1900s. He was a famed urban planner, and he designed 4 quadrants of public space. These are being redesigned into 2, with green space and spaces to gather and children to play in the water and a cafe, and it's going to be wonderful, and this is going to be open by the summer of 2016. So I hope you all come downtown to enjoy this. So with all of this development happening in Cleveland, Destination Cleveland, which is your Convention and Visitors Bureau, wanted to figure out how to capitalize on this investment. So we conducted a lot of research with local stakeholders and our target audience, which is visitors. And we found some really interesting findings. The first key insight was that perception is significantly impacted by experience. We know that there's individuals out there that have negative impressions and perceptions of Cleveland, but what we also know is that once they get here and experience Cleveland, they're transformed, their images are transformed. This shows you individuals in white had never visited Cleveland, and individuals in red have recently visited Cleveland, and it shows you how their perceptions change in whether Cleveland is exciting or family-friendly or there's a lot of entertainment options. A second key insight was that local resident perceptions impact visitor volume. So what you're reading on the slide right now is not that surprising. There's 3 primary sources that a visitor uses when planning a trip. The first is the internet. So you're looking online, you're looking on social media, where are people traveling, that's where you want to go. The second is friends and family that have recently traveled. So your cousin just went on a trip to Hawaii and had a great experience, and now you think you want to go to Hawaii. But the third is people that live in that destination. So think about it. You're thinking about traveling, you know someone that lives in that place, and you're going to give them a call and say, should I bother coming? And what is there to do? Well, the surprising statistic was that when Cleveland residents were asked that question, only 34% said, yeah, you should come. The rest said, don't bother. So this really surprised us. And what surprised us even more was that in our competitive markets like Pittsburgh, Columbus, Milwaukee, this number's in the 60s. So we're way behind our peer set in local resident recommendation of our city as a destination. So we did some things about this just over the last year and a half. We launched 5 new initiatives: a new destination brand, a hashtag This Is CLE movement, a Cleveland mobile tour, and then 2 programs, Cleveland Ambassadors and Cleveland Travelbackers, and I'll tell you a little bit about each of them. The destination brand is the image we project out into other markets about Cleveland to get people to come here. These are some ads that you've probably never seen because they're on billboards and radio and TV in Pittsburgh and Columbus and St. Louis. We did the hashtag This Is CLE movement, and this is probably my favorite thing that we did because it has 2 really primary goals. One is to take away that beauty shot of an image, or beauty shot of a city that CVBs typically would show, and allow all of you to show your Cleveland to visitors. So we invite local residents to tag pictures that they take in Cleveland, hashtag This Is CLE. Post them to Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and what we do with these images is use them in our advertising. We use them on our website. We use them on our social media to market Cleveland outside the region. So what this has done is we've, in just a year and a half, had 113,899 tweets, 75,000 tagged Instagrams, and 40 million person reach. And I really encourage you to go on your social media channels when you get home today and search hashtag This Is CLE. You're going to see your city in a way you've never seen it. The Cleveland Mobile Tour. We bought a food truck without any food in it and filled it with information about Cleveland. Collateral, itineraries, giveaways, and we wrapped it with our brand. And we took it out to events all over the city of Cleveland and in the suburbs. The purpose of this mobile tour was to give people a positive experience with their hometown and encourage them to come into the center city and experience it. We also had these giant letters that said Cleveland or hashtag This Is CLE that people love to take pictures with. So we attended 10 events, we engaged 30,000 people, and we got 1,300 e-newsletter signups. That doesn't seem like a ton, but we're gonna keep doing it. You'll see this truck out again over the summer in the years to come. And we're gonna continue to connect with all those local residents and educate them about what's going on in their hometown. The Travelbackers program is a program geared towards frontline staff, waitresses, bartenders, taxi cab drivers, educating them on Cleveland as a destination and how to offer best-in-class service to visitors. This program started about a year and a half ago also. We've trained 1,500 frontline staff. And the coolest thing about this program is not the program itself, but the community that it's building. There are 1,500 people that are now joining us for what we call discovery events and going to Progressive Field together and experiencing an Indians game. Or going out to Lake County on a bus and having the Lake County Convention and Visitors Bureau show them around. And they're really building community. Cleveland Ambassadors is a program for all of you, local residents. We want to invite you to interact with these visitors that are coming to town. And my favorite part of this program is our pop-up welcome parties. So bus tours come into Cleveland, planes come into Cleveland, as you know. But what I bet you didn't know is that cruise ships come into Cleveland. These are cruises through the Great Lakes, and they dock down on the west bank of the flats, and about 150 people get off and spend the day in Cleveland. Then they go to the next port city. So when buses and planes and cruise ships come into Cleveland, we greet them, along with about 50 local residents, and hold up cheesy, kitschy signs that say, welcome to Cleveland, and we have balloons, and we have our kids, and we have our dogs, and we just welcome them. And it connects the local resident to the visitor, but it also really surprises and delights the visitor. It's not happening in any of the other cities that they're arriving in. So that's been really fun, and we'd love you to join. So again, we want you to join in. I know a lot of people in this room are part of the millennial generation, and the millennial generation is most open to visiting Cleveland. When we asked in our research among the generations how interested they were in visiting Cleveland as a destination, the millennials scored it much higher than others. And the millennials will make up 33% of the travel market by 2020. So particularly the millennials in the room, you have a real impact on getting visitors to come here and experience your hometown. So my question to you today is, are you the 34%? If asked, would you recommend your hometown as a place to visit? And my second question is, what is your Cleveland curiosity? How much are you leaving your comfort zone and experiencing your city, crossing the river? Are you curious about our eclectic neighborhoods? There's a lot of them spread throughout the city, and they all have great things to offer. But I'm going to tell you about just a few today in hopes that they will inspire you to go check them out. So coming up on February 14th is Karuntavanya. Has anyone in this room ever heard of this event? Okay, see like 1 or 2 hands out there. This is a Slovenian festival. Cleveland has the second largest population of Slovenians in the world, second to Slovenia. So the St. Clair Superior neighborhood decided to start hosting the Karuntavanya Festival, which is only hosted in Slovenia. Now it's also hosted or celebrated in Cleveland. And this is a celebration to scare away winter and welcome in spring. Go check it out. It's pretty close by. There's great food, there's music, there's entertainment, and you can go check it out. You may have never been to that neighborhood, but this is a great opportunity to go try it. Bright Winter, anybody heard of that? Okay, there's more there. This is a relatively new event also that takes place in the Ohio City neighborhood, so you'd have to cross the river for this one. But this is an art and music festival. This is a celebration of our winters and the cold months. It's music and entertainment outside in the winter of Cleveland. There's tons of bands that play. This is happening on February 21st, and I encourage you to go. It's a lot of fun. And then the last one I'll call out is Rock Week. As you know, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is headquartered here in Cleveland, and the induction ceremonies take place here every 3 years, and this is the year. So the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony will be in Cleveland this summer, or this spring. And leading up to the induction ceremony is Rock Week. So the week of April 13th, primarily in downtown Cleveland, but throughout the neighborhoods, we'll be celebrating Rock Week. I encourage you to go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's website, learn more, and attend these events. So is your curiosity our attractions? There's so many attractions to choose from that today I'm not even going to talk about all of them, but what I'm going to talk about is the ones that are free. Because there's a lot of experience you can have for free in Cleveland. Great Lakes Brewing Company offers a 30-minute tour of its brewery. You can go and it's free, set up at your time, and they'll take you on a tour. Soldiers and Sailors Monument, which is right on Public Square that I talked about earlier, they have curators within the building that you can go tour the monument and get a guided tour, and that's free. Lakeview Cemetery might sound like a weird one to be on here, but if you haven't been, Lakeview Cemetery is one of the most beautiful green spaces in the country. And when visitors come to Cleveland, it's one of the things they leave most impressed by. There's some very historical figures buried there, and it's just a beautiful space, and it's free. The Cleveland Museum of Art is free, which we may take for granted, but there are not many museums of art in the world that are free, and you can go there as many times as you want and experience it for free. Cuyahoga Valley National Park, we may take this for granted too, but not every city has a national park system within their borders, and we do. The Federal Reserve Bank's Learning Center and Money Museum. Not every city has a Federal Reserve Bank. In fact, I think there's only 14 in the country, and we have one in downtown Cleveland, right next to Cleveland Public Library, which is also a great free experience. The Learning Center educates you on the history of money, how money is made, and you can go tour that for free. The Metro Parks, you probably know the emerald necklace that surrounds all of our suburban communities, but what you might not know is that the Metro Parks recently took over the Lakefront Park system. And what we say around our office is if you haven't been to Edgewater Park in a year, you've never been to Edgewater Park. It's a completely different place. They have an event every week in the summer now called Edgewater Live, where they bring all the food trucks down, they have live entertainment, music, and it's just a wonderful experience. So I encourage you to check that out this summer. And then take a hike tours. These take place in downtown Cleveland. They're hosted by the Historic Gateway District. There's a personalized walking tour that lasts about an hour through every downtown district, pretty much every night of the week, starting at 6 o'clock at night. And I think there's also one on Saturdays. So you sign up online, and then you can go take a walking tour of the various districts of downtown for free. Is your curiosity our culinary scene? You all know and have read that our culinary scene is really growing and our chefs are continually receiving national recognition. If you haven't been downtown lately to check out the dining scene, here's your chance. Restaurant Week is taking place February 20th through March 1st. This has 35 participating restaurants where they set prix menus, and you can experience the dining of the downtown cuisine for $30. So you're gonna get a salad, an entree, and a dessert for $30 at 35 different restaurants. They'll give you a special menu. I would encourage you to go check it out. It's a great way to taste all that downtown has to offer. Is your curiosity our transit system? This is another thing I think we take for granted in Cleveland. We have a world-class transportation system. There are not many places that you can land at the airport, get on a train, and get into the heart of downtown, and then continue on to our eastern suburbs. And that's really appreciated by our visitors. What you may not know is that we also have an outstanding trolley system, and it's free. Are you seeing a theme here? If you're in downtown Cleveland and you don't want to park several times if you've driven into the city, you can get on the trolley and ride it around. There's 4 different routes that the different trolleys take. They say you smile and ride for free, and you can ride throughout the city and experience downtown and get from place to place. When I lived downtown, I lived in the Warehouse District, and I worked in Playhouse Square. So I literally got on the trolley in front of my apartment door and got off in front of my work door. And it took about 5.5 minutes. One thing I encourage people to do is come downtown and just ride a trolley around. It's a great way to get free transportation and a kind of a little tour of downtown Cleveland and all the developments that I've talked about. And then I'm going to end today with this quote that I came across this year that just has really inspired me. And the thing that's really inspired me the most about it is that it was said by Newton D. Baker about Cleveland in 1907. He said, "The greatness of a city does not consist in its buildings, either public or private, nor its institutions and benevolences, but rather in the intensity and intelligence with which its citizens love the city as their home." So my question to you is, what is your intensity and intelligence with which you love your city as your home? So I've talked about a lot of things today. I'm certain I may not have touched on the things that you're passionate about, but I'm certain that there's experiences that exist for you in those passions, and I encourage you to get curious. Experience your city like a visitor, engage with what you love intensely and intelligently, and then share it. Share it with your neighbors, share it with your friends, share it with visitors, online, in person. And if you want to join us, go to thisiscleveland.com, click on locals, and then get involved. And there's all the ways that I've talked about for you all to get involved with what we do. I'm going to end with this video.
Told my heart that
Thank you.